So again, I'm Pam Long. Welcome. We're going to kind of address some summer learning ideas that have come up. So when you registered, there was a question there that I asked about, what's your summer education plans? And you guys pretty much hit the nail with all of the thoughts that I had too. So what I saw, I kind of built this when I was looking at all of that, was there's still a lot of that credit recovery going on where kids are required to go back to school because you're right, they disappeared. They weren't there. They have to take summer school. And your job now is to go in and fix it. Like, what is wrong? What did you miss? What were you successful at? Let's fix that so that you can progress to the next course or the next grade level. So that's kind of one realm that we're looking at. The second realm that we're looking at is a lot of schools are having these optional like ketchup camp. I love that. I could actually see like little ketchup bottles and stuff. I don't know, ketchup camp, right? Where they're going to have the kids come in there like for a week or once a week, and they're going to try to fill in some of those gaps. And again, that's like exactly right. That's where they're going to catch up on the things that they've learned and lost, or they just didn't have the opportunity to learn because of the different constraints of the year. So that's another opportunity that we have. So exciting. And you mentioned it as well, enrichment. There's a lot of kids out there that are always looking to do more, to get ahead of the game, to keep their skills going. And I love this group of kids because they're really hungry to learn. They want to know more. They want to be able to get better. So that I've heard from a lot of people, and you mentioned it too. And of course, this is another great idea, is to do some kind of fun challenge with your kids. If you've used Get More Math this year, or if you haven't, just so that they're using some mathematics over the summer to maintain their progress. We already know there's going to be some loss. We know that summer slide really puts a lot of loss in there. Mm-hmm. So if we could give them some kind of challenge or some kind of motivation to get them to at least try to practice some over the summer, that would be really awesome so that they can maintain their progress. So these are kind of the realms I think we're hitting here. And I'm hoping that, and you all mentioned it, so I think we're going to definitely hit, and you're going to fall into those. Regardless, this was always my thing, regardless of what it is, you want to remember to give yourself some grace and definitely keep it simple. Like, it's summer. It's been a rough year and a half. My poor teachers are like, we're done, right? And the kids feel the same way. So just give yourself some grace, keep it simple, make sure that you're hitting those main focus points with your kiddos, but make it fun too. I'm always like, it's not a drill and kill. It's like, we've got to incorporate some discovery learning, maybe, or constructive learning, and just keep it fun for them. So keep that in mind in the back of your head. You can't cover everything. So you want to hit those main points and just make sure that you do a good job with those and keep it simple. So let's take a look at the first two things that I think, and they pair up really well together. If you're doing the credit recovery because you've got kids that were not able to be successful in the grade level, or you're going to do some optional learning where they're going to come in and fill the gaps. And what teachers always want, this is me, I was a teacher too for 20 years. Robin was a teacher as well, is just tell me what to do. Like, just give me a plan so it makes my life easier. And so we've kind of come up with a plan that we think will be easy. And again, remember, it can be done in 100 different ways. So just kind of keeping in mind, it can be tweaked however it is that you want. So the first thing I'm going to say was part of the plan is just, if you're going into that environment for summer learning, if you're going to be doing credit recovery, you're teaching summer school, or you've got this catch-up classes where you're going to be filling the gaps, make sure you plan it out. Plan out what you're going to do. And the first thing you do is consider your time. In Pennsylvania, that's where I'm from, Pennsylvania, we, in our standards, have like 5 different anchors. So my thoughts are, here's an easy matchup. If my summer school is 5 weeks, obviously that makes sense. I'm going to do an anchor a week, right? So kind of think about your time frame, think about how often you're meeting with those kids, and try to like divide it out as to what exactly it is you want to do there. In that time, again, you can't do it all. I wish we were miracle workers with our magic wands, but we're going to focus on those core skills. You're going to pick out the things that are the most essential for that grade level or that course and focus on those. Some states will have their results back for their state assessments. Pennsylvania, we don't get ours back until probably July, maybe August, but I know like in Texas, they get them back quite quickly, right? Right, Robin? I'm thinking yes. Yep. So those are available and you can see the results on those. You can find the skills that the kids, and then what would I focus on is I'd focus on the skills that they missed by a little. Like if there are skills that your kids were completely like so far down, those aren't the ones you want to focus on. We want to focus on the ones that just kind of, they need a little more push to kind of get them over that hump. So that'll give you some data that you can look at. And again, deciding on some goals for your kids, like, do you want them to earn so many points a day, so many points for the week? However it is you want to do it. So that this piece, I think, is going to be the part that's going to take a little bit more time, because you really want to make sure you've got all your ducks in a row, and you want to make sure you know exactly what it is you're going to do so that you can implement your plan, and then it'll be ready to go, which I think is going to be easy. Once you've got your structure down, I'm going to kind of show you how I would do it. You're going to teach that lesson, because remember, in Get More Math, there is no instructional component. You're still the teacher, which I love, because you can still be creative. You can still, like I always say about summer, like get up, get moving, get the kids doing hands-on activities, because it's a lot more fun for them to sit in that than sitting in that desk all day. Guided practice is going to be really important, and making mini videos. This is, I mean, listen, before this pandemic, when it came to videos and Zooming and all that, I'm like, I was like nervous and it was scary, but now I think we're all a lot more comfortable with it. So when you're doing your guided practice, that's a great time to hit the record button and just record what you're doing, so that that is going to be like a little mini lesson you can store somewhere for reference, either for summer or for next year too. So I always like to have those references available. Robin, you good? Yes.
I'm raising my hand.
Go ahead, Robin.
Okay, we have a teacher that's trying to find her link to get in, and the only link I have is a co-host link. Do you have a link that you can shoot me in Slack, and then I'll send it to her? She's can't find her link.
Yeah, I'm sure that I can. Let me see if I can find it here. I don't, I guess I'd have to go into Zoom. I'll come back to you guys here. Again, look at me. I'm like,
I know, I hate for her to miss it. She's
Isn't that the way life is? Let me throw this in your thing and see if that'll be helpful.
Okay.
Will that work?
Thank you very much. I believe it'll
do. You would think that I'd have everything ready. Gosh. Okay. Then we're back to my thing. All right. We sharing again here, Robin? Yes.
Yes.
Give the kids practice now. After you teach, they're going to practice in the assignment and in mixed review. That's going to be your key. And the nice thing is you're going to monitor your kids and watch for their progress. So that's going to be kind of the plan that I would say would be the one that I would follow to make sure that we got where we're going to go. So let me show you what this is going to look like on the teacher app. So I'm going to go ahead over to my teacher app here. I think maybe. Nothing's working for me, Robin. There we go.
There you go.
And I'm at the teacher app. Okay. So I'm going to start on the work tab, and I'm going to kind of show you what I've already done. So prior to all of this, I created over on my left side here. So this is all of my folders and all of my work on the left. I created 5 weeks in here, because maybe my summer program is 5 weeks long, or, you know, if you do it 1 week, you could do 5 different days. However it is, just, I want you to build it as you can. Okay. So once I did that, and I knew I was going to have 5 weeks, inside each of those weeks, then I did different days. So I did day 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have a day 5, and I'm going to explain why. But I did that for each of them. So I'm actually I already have that kind of built and ready to go. And I just did it for week 1 for right now, just so that you can see what it looks like. Once I have that done, now I'm going to find those skills that I want to give my students. Where can I go? Well, again, one thing that I love about the program is you have access to everything in here. You know, if you're a 5th grade teacher and you want to go back to 4th grade skills, go for it, right? K through 2, we don't have a specific curriculum for K through 2, but go into 3rd grade and there's a ton of things in there that you can use in kindergarten and 1st and 2nd grade, just simply adding digits. So you can find what it is you're looking for. I'm going to go middle of the road. I'm going to go in 8th grade. And so you can go through topics. We have everything divided out here by topics, and you can find, specific topics, maybe from the results of a test or whatever it is. There are unit guides. You all have access to unit guides. These are more like textbooks. So when you're looking through here, this is more of a sequential order that you could do that course in. So you could find that. But personally, what I would do is I would go to your state. Everybody should have their state on the top there under the collection. And inside your state, everyone should have a standards folder. Now, there's some other folders depending on where you are from. But for most part, everyone's going to have that standard folder. So when I'm looking in my standard folder here for Pennsylvania in 8th grade, I can see, again, I have those 5 standards and I've got 5 weeks. So you bet I'm going to hit each one for every week. What I then did is I opened up each of these and I went through and opened the folders for each of them. And I took a screenshot and I pulled them into a Word document. And this is what I made. It's all outlined and highlighted. So I went in and opened up every single folder for that first one and got an idea of what was being covered in all of those skills under that first standard. So that first standard I had was like rational and irrational numbers. So anything in that folder, I want to make sure I attack it in that first week of learning. And so I printed it off. And again, right now, I hate to say things that we don't have, but we don't have a print button right now. I know they're always working on it. So I just did a screenshot of each, saved them and put them into a Word document. I then went through and I kind of mapped out exactly what I wanted to do for each day. Now, this is also going to be a little bit tricky depending on the time you have, right? I don't know about your time frame, but summer school for us went from 7 to noon. My kids had like 5 hours of summer school. That is a long time for summer school. So if you've got a large chunk of time, what's my advice? Do it as like 2 different kind of assignments. Attack one, let the kids learn, practice, attack the next one. You've got plenty of time in there. If it's a shorter time, maybe just an hour, hour and a half, you may just want to do one focus. Okay. So I'm going to show you both just to kind of give you an idea. So we're going to start on day 1. I have a day 1 folder here. And let's suppose on day 1, I've got a long chunk of time. I got 3, 4, 5 hours. Okay. So I'm going to come down to my plus with that day 1 highlighted, and I'm going to create an assignment, and I'm going to call it day 1 assignment. If I can spell, that's why I'm a math teacher. 1. Okay. Now, after going through my folders in my standards, I mapped out exactly what I wanted my kids to do for this first assignment. And what I wanted them to do was first work on converting numbers. And I did all this pre-planning, which made it so easy for me. So I'm going to take this skill. And again, be sure to open up the skill. Be sure to toggle through multiple examples, even check out the answers, because you want to make sure like, okay, that's a decimal, or that's a repeating decimal. Those are the things that you want your students to be able to do. And if that's exactly what you want them to do, I'm going to hit add that skill and put it into my assignment, knowing I'm going to teach that to my kids, reteach that to my kids, and then they're going to practice that. The second one was another one. I'm converting mixed numbers. Again, toggle, look. I'm going to add that one. And then there was a last one here, rounding to decimals. We have the inclination, because we know it's summer school and the time is really short, to just dump in a ton of skills. Like, oh my gosh, I have such little time, but I need to know them. They need to know everything, right? I'm going to say again, work on those core skills and keep these number of skills you're adding small. You don't want to dump in a ton of them. If you put in 5, 6, 10 skills, that's just a lot. And the kids have to cycle through them. And now remember, they all start as red skills. And to get them to move to yellow, yellow means they're making progress. We require that they earn 3 points on each skill. So that's why our points per skill here is defaulted to 3, because when the kids get these skills, they're going to be red. And once they answer each of them 3 times, they're going to move to yellow. And that to you shows progress, that they're actually starting to understand the skill. So if you put in 10 skills, they're going to have to do 30 problems. So keep that in mind to keep it small, because what's going to end up happening once they finish the assignment we all know they're going to go to mixed review, and mixed review is where they're going to see these skills again and again and again to build that long-term retention, especially over the summer. Okay. This is built. I love it. I'm going to hit save. And now if I go back, hit the X right here, you can see it's saved in my assignment under my day one folder. I'm going to do the exact same thing again. I'm going to create an assignment. I'm going to call it now day one assignment 2. Like I said, this is my longer class. And again, I did my digging through skills, and I found the ones I wanted to add to this assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and add those ones in. And then once again, I'm going to hit save. And if I go back, you can see that it's already in here and saved. So the one thing I love about this is you can pre-build everything. You know, if I go to day 2 now, let's suppose day 2, let's pretend like this is actually maybe my teaching is a catch-up class and it's a smaller class, like it's only an hour. Okay. So in that capacity, I'm only going to add in, oh, this is in my way. I'm only going to add in one assignment here. So I'm just going to call it day 2. And again, after some looking and some deciding, I'm going to put in, I already have it all kind of, I'm going to add this skill, classifying rational and irrational. And I got a couple more down here. So this was all pre-planned. I already knew these ones that I were going to add. You saw my highlights. Okay. Save. Then I can move on to day 3, which I already have built, and day 4, which I already have built. So you can get all of this made, even for the whole time, ready to go for when your kids come. And honestly, I think using the standards is going to be your best option, because what we did to build the standards is we found all of the skills that we felt address those standards specifically or the best, and we put them into those folders. So instead of you digging through all the topics, just going through these standard folders is going to give you what we feel is going to map the best with what you need. Okay, questions? Okay, I'm going to keep on going then. All right. Once I get this all built, well, now it's time to, oh my gosh, summer school starts tomorrow. Hard to believe, right? So I'm going to go over to my classes tab here, and hopefully in the summer school classes, you have less students. You have not the full gamut of 20, 30 kids, right? So what you can do is you can create a class, and I'm going to just call it summer school, summer class. And we added this subject here. Right now, it really has no functionality. Eventually, what it's going to do is going to map to skills with that grade level. You have to select a subject, or you can just select other down here on the bottom for your summer school. That'll work too. And I'm just going to call it summer and hit save. So you're going to create either a summer class where you're going to house all of your kids, or if you only have a handful of kids, you can make a different class for each student. And then you could really cater to exactly what each student needs. That's up to you. I'm just going to kind of throw out, either one will be very beneficial, however you're going to do it. Once you make that class, you've got to put kids in there. So how do you do that? We're going to go to roster right here. Over on the top, there's a little person with a plus. If the kids have used Get More Math in the past, you want them to keep the same account. So you're going to want to add them. You're going to search for them and add them. If they're brand new, they've never used Get More Math before, you can either create an account for them right here. You can put in their first name and last name, and you can make them an account. Or once you get together with them on that very first day, they can use the class code to join. So the class code and the create student, I would say these are going to be used for students that have never used it before. But if you know kids coming into your summer class have used it, then definitely search for them and let them use the same login information they have in the past. So I have this Dory Green. This is a fake student of mine. I'm going to add that student to my class. All I do is search for them. I simply hit add, and now that student is on my roster. Simple as that. You can expand out that student. We've got some information in here about that student. You can see their username. You can see their password if you want, or you can adjust it. It's all up to you. And there's some settings you can choose as well. So that's what I would suggest as you move forward. If they're new, let them create the class or use the code. And if they're old, you bring them all in. Okay. Now, once you get your roster done, you get all your kiddos in there. Now let's talk about, okay, what are we going to do? Well, our plan is to, first of all, create the assignments, which we already did. And our second one is to let's teach. So you would teach the lesson. And once you've teach that lesson, we want to make sure that you use guided practice. So what I would suggest doing is this first assignment. Okay, here it is, already built. You got it done. When you go to assign that to your summer class, I also, this is just my personal preference because I think this works so well. I also have a modeling class that has a fake student in it. That's me. And I use that class to model all my problems because I want the kids to be able to see what they're going to see and how to answer it. So I'm going to assign this first assignment to both of those classes. Now, what happens is that that assignment gets pushed out and those skills get added to mixed review. That's the key component there. Now, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to teach as fabulous as I can. And then I want to make sure I model. So here's my modeling class right here. Okay. And you can see I have the assignment given to that class. But because it's a modeling class and I just want to focus on how the skills are going to look and how the kids should answer them, what I do with that class is I switch it to mixed review all the time. I always have that class working in mixed review. Then I go to mixed review, and what I do is I can see there are 4 skills here. There's an old one in here that I can delete because I don't really want it. I kind of keep this one nice and tidy. And here are the 3 skills the kids are going to practice today. So that I focus on one at a time, what I do is I actually turn off every skill except for one. Then what I do is I log in as that fake student. Again, that fake student is just one that I created for myself. And now what I have is I have that modeling class in mixed review, and I only have one skill showing. And so this is where then I model for my kids. I say, okay, this is where we're going to go ahead and answer the question. We talk about it, read the directions, because you know your kids are like my kids. They never read the directions. Round to the nearest hundredth, show them how to put the answer in, how if they check it and they get it correct, they'll get another problem. Now I turned my smileys off because to me, they were a little bit annoying, but you can leave them on. So this is what I would do. And I would do a bunch of these with your kids. And they can do them on either dry erase boards or on their paper so that they're actually seeing you model how to do the problems and how to put the answer in. That's so helpful. And now you're only focusing on one skill. Once you feel you've done enough practice on that one skill, look how quick this is. I'm just going to go back to my teacher app. I'm going to turn on a second skill and turn that one off. It quickly readjusts, and now I'm focusing on another skill. I just like the fact that the screen is not overcrowded with tons and tons and tons of stuff. It's just exactly what I want them to focus on. So again, this is a great opportunity too, to show them the buttons down underneath the answer box too, because this is a repeating decimal. So I want to make sure I show them that bar there, and then they can put that on. And again, run through a bunch of examples here, make sure that they answer it correctly. And then again, go back, turn on that third skill, turn off that second skill, and now you're focusing just on that one. I found that to be really helpful. I found it to be, and again, remember when you're in mixed review, there's no end. It just goes on and on and on. So you can do as many examples as you want, which is, to me, so nice. Then you don't have to bounce all over the place. You're just focusing on the one. Okay, so teach as you're modeling. Here's a great opportunity to hit that record button and go ahead and record yourself doing the screen and then save it for a reference for later so that the kids can just reference it and say, how do I put that answer in? Where did she get that bar from? And it's all there for them to watch. I use this thing up here. It's a little extension called Screencastify. I don't know if any of you have heard of that. It's free. And it gives you 5 minutes of video time. So I just hit that, it records my screen, and then I just save it to YouTube, and then they have access to it, which is really helpful as well. Okay. Once you've modeled for the kids, now what they're going to do is they're going to log into their account. So I have this student in here. It's Dory Green, and I had to write down the number. There we go. And when that student logs in, now you'll see they have those 3 skills. And what do I want them to do? I want them to earn the 9 points, so that when they earn those 9 points on those 3 skills, they're going to turn their colors from red to yellow. And once they finish those 9 points, we know they go right into mixed review where they're going to see those skills again. So I don't want to do a bunch of them, but just realize that whenever they're working on them, the modeling is so helpful. Let me just do a couple here for you. This is 0.83. Smileys will fall. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for a calculator, right? As a decimal, exact, no rounding. 2.916 repeating, bar 6. There we go. And you can see smileys fall, dollar signs move. Eventually what's going to happen is that class will move to mixed review. So I'm just going to push them there so that you can see what it looks like. When they get to mixed review, it's exactly the same as that first assignment. There's nothing else in there because it's exactly what you taught them. We don't want to load it with a bunch of stuff and hope that they know it. We want to load mixed review as we teach. And so what happens is as soon as they finish that assignment and they go to mixed review, those skills are still in there where they're going to practice again and again and again. So maybe it's the same day, right? And you've got that long period of time. They finished the first assignment. They're now working in mixed review. Fantastic. Shut your computer, teach again, right? Teach that second assignment that you've created. Then go ahead and assign that second assignment to your summer class and again to your modeling class. I always recommend a modeling class. As always, go into that modeling class and limit the skills. You know, this one, obviously, I'm going to just turn off a couple and just model that one and go through each. The kiddos, when it's time for them to work now and they log in, they're now in that new assignment. And they're going to work through that, changing those colors from red to yellow. And then just to show you, when they get to mixed review now, I'm going to push them in there just to show you. Not only do they have the 3 skills from the most current assignment, but they also have the 3 skills from the last assignment. So that mixed review is going to build. And that's what's going to help over the summer. You keep building in those skills that you're teaching them. And therefore now they keep going back and revisiting them through that mixed review. And that's going to help them remember as they start the next school year, what it is that they need to be successful. While they're doing this and they're with you, either live or video, remember to watch your current status screen. That's going to give you the current status of your kids. You can see exactly what they're working on, how many points they've earned. You can click on their name. You can see their problem, send them a message, however it is going to work for you. But wow, I don't know why that problem, there it is, took a little while. That is what you're going to do to monitor them in real time. Keep an eye on them. In the long term, like maybe you're thinking, oh my gosh, well, how did they do yesterday? Or how did they do last week? Our other reports we have are obviously points history. You can look there and it'll give you a history of all the points that they earn, depending on which days they are. But quite honestly, I personally would go to that mixed review report and I would look at the skills in there. And from those skills, I would watch the colors. Now I'm going to go to a different class because this one obviously is brand new and they're all going to be red right now. But if I go to this class, I'm going to move you guys. And I go ahead over to this little column visibility here and I open up a few more columns, right? To take a skill from red to yellow can be done in one day. Easy peasy. 3 right answers on that skill makes it go red to yellow, right? That shows the kids' progress. And that just shows understanding right now, short term, right? What you want to do is you want to watch those skills and make sure that they're moving beyond yellow. They're moving to green, then silver, then gold. That's where the kids are really going to start understanding that skill because they're not just getting it right today. They're getting it right over time. So if I go ahead and click, maybe if I look at proficient students here, okay, and I have 100% right here, wow. If I click on that, it's showing me the kids that are proficient on that skill, that have moved to green, silver, and gold. You cannot get green in one day. You can't even get it in 2 days. It takes almost 3 days, if not longer, to move a skill to green. And that's practicing it and getting it correct. So to go from that red to yellow, that's definitely a 1-dayer. But to move beyond that means you've practiced that skill multiple times over several days and you still are getting it right. We're going to reward you to that proficient level. So this is another place to look. Watch the colors. If they're moving to green, silver, gold, you can rest assured those kids understand it. But if they're still staying in that red and yellow category, like down here, they just need some more time to work in mixed review, more time to revisit those skills and move them through those colors. We also report accuracy. Accuracy is the percentage of time of them getting it right on the first try. So this kid is getting it right 100% on the first try. If the kids have a high accuracy, that means they understand the skill. You did a great job teaching it. But because they're still in a yellow proficiency, they just need some more time to answer it correctly to move. So even though points, I think, is a good measure of kids answering questions correctly on the first try, I feel the color rating is a better indication. So as you're adding skills in there, keep an eye on this proficiency column. If they're all 0, that means your kids are red and yellow. You want to see that percentage increase as time moves on. And as it's increasing, you can feel a little more guaranteed that those kids are going to understand it. So you could even give kids scores by colors, you red to yellow. Sure. That's great. You can do that. But once you get to green, silver, and gold, that's how I'm going to then decide whether or not you've got it. So that's another great way to kind of say to your kids, I'm going to monitor you through the current status, but I'm also going to monitor you through the colors because that's going to tell me exactly where you are or what you know. That's a lot of information. Okay. Questions before I zip back to the other part? Robin, how are we doing out there?
We're doing great. We got somebody joining us just now.
Anybody can join. It's always a party in here. I love that.
Absolutely.
If only we could have a few cocktails. That would make it even better.
Right.
I'm sure everyone's saying that.
Definitely.
All right, let's continue along then. So that's going to cover our credit recovery piece and our filling the gaps piece. If you're doing the optional enrichment piece, the plan is pretty much the same, but I would take one additional step here. I would talk to the next grade level teacher and I would say, what is it you would want these kids to know well when they come to you? And you can identify that and make that part of your assignment. So the remaining part of the plan is pretty much the same if you've got this same environment with the same kids wanting to know more. Remember, they're like hungry to learn, right? They're willing to work for you. Talk to that next level teacher, see what it is they need, and then follow that same plan, okay? So either case, remember the key to the program, which is going to make a difference for your kids remembering as they move to that next year, is not the assignment. That assignment is just that brief focus practice on what you've taught them today. It's valuable. It's just not enough practice. Push those kids to work in that mixed review environment. That's where they're going to spiral. That's where they're going to see all those skills. That is where the magic is going to happen, is what we call it, because that assignment is just short-term learning, or that mixed review is the long-term. And again, like I said, in that assignment, they're going to change those red squares to yellow. But it's not until they work on that same skill in the mixed review that they're going to go green, silver, and gold. That's the key. And again, red and yellow is not proficient. That just means they understand it today. It's when they get to those higher level skills that's going to be proficient. And again, where do you see that at? I showed you, like in the mixed review report, you can click on any skill. You can see exactly where they fall in terms of proficiency, in terms of non-proficiency, and that lets you address specific kids. Also, if you're just walking around the room, you can look at their screens. You see a lot of stars in green, you can rest assured they're doing really well. You see a lot of red. I used to tell my teachers, I'm like, if the screen is bleeding, there's so much red on there, that means you need to stop and address what needs to be done. So those are great ways to measure how they're growing. Okay, so all three of these are great plans. if you're meeting with the kids, if you're in person with them, and or if you're not, if you're videoing with them. Well, what's going to happen if maybe they have to work on their own? That's definitely a possibility, right? They may just be on their own working. So you have to tweak the plan a little bit. And what do I mean by that? Still do number one, still plan, still create, still make your assignments, still decide on your goals, right? But if you're not meeting with them at all, you're not going to be teaching the lesson, then you definitely want to make sure that you make those videos and obviously set up some time to meet with them. Have some kind of office hours. Like if there's no instruction from you, you definitely need to like come up with a plan to say, hey, I'll be available on Wednesdays from 3 to 4. Like that's when you can meet with me, or here's my email, or here's my, some people use Remind and Group Me, so you can use those as well. When they're practicing now, you're not going to allow them to practice just in the assignment anymore. You're going to force them into that mixed review. And the reason why is because now they're going to see everything. Plus they'll have some skips available in case they get stuck. And the other thing I'm going to say is there's an option to turn off penalties. If you go into roster and you click on the student name, if they're not with you and you're not able to help them, you want to make sure you turn off those penalties because they can cause problems for your kids. So get the skips on, get them in mixed review, and turn off those penalties for sure. And then obviously I would watch the colors. You're not gonna be able to monitor them in current status because they're not going to be on. So watch those colors and see how those changes make, and then you can address them. So the plan is great if you're with them, but you need to make some adjustments if you're obviously not meeting with them. Okay, last piece is that optional fun challenge piece. Like what can you do with that? What kind of plan can you come up with that for your kiddos? Well, if they're your current kids, they're with you in class right now, then what I would do is I would take that class and I would push it into mixed review. And I would turn off all the assignments. If the kids are going to log in over the summer and they're going to do some problems, let them do it in mixed review where those skips are available. Turn off the assignments so they can't get to them, right? Turn off those penalties too, because we don't want them getting stuck. And come up with some kind of goals, incentives, or motivations. I'll give you some ideas. I have some teachers that say, okay, I'm going to challenge you guys to get 25 points every week during the summer, right? Or I'm going to say, whoever has the most points at the end of the summer, we're going to have some kind of reward. Or, let's do a bracket. Let's have classes competing. Something creative, something to get those kids sparked a little bit so that they'll log in and even do a couple problems, right? Look at your mixed review data. If you've been using this all year, you'll have a lot of skills in there, right? Deactivate any skill that the kids are all red on, they're struggling with. You don't want them to struggle in the summer. You want to build their confidence. So turn off some of those red skills and turn off a few more so that you're limiting that mixed review, maybe to start with 10 skills. 10 skills they're good at too, so that they get, oh, I can do this, right? And then as the kids show progress, oh, that should be a 3 and a 4, mess up there. Add in more skills, turn more on. You don't want to put new skills in if this is fun. You want to just keep the skills they've already learned and slowly add some in. And again, always forms of communication, office hours, mini videos, anything there that can help you guys out. So real quickly, just to show you what I'm talking about, this is my class here, and I go to mixed review, okay? Any skill that all my kids are red on, I'm going to order by red, okay? They're all red. I'm going to definitely turn that off. I don't want my kids struggling on skills that they have read when they were with me, okay? And then maybe what I would do is I'd say, okay, what are they really good at? What are skills they're really good at? That would be your proficient student column here, okay? Leave those on. And then what you can do is you can check a whole bunch of these over here. Or you know what I'm going to do? Make my life a lot easier, Pam. I'm going to check them all. And I'm going to uncheck maybe, 10 of them. And then I'm going to come over to actions here. I'm going to hit deactivate. So it's going to turn off everything except for 10 skills here. And I know the kids are good at these skills because they're all proficient, which means that they're all green, silver, or gold. And put them out there for a few days and then watch your kids, see how they're doing, watch their points. And then maybe After some time, turn on a couple more, turn on a couple more, and keep gradually adding more throughout the summer so that when they get in there, they can see, oh, okay, I got a couple more to do. And that keeps those skills fresh in their mind and makes them maintain the progress they've already made. If they're already 1-year classes, those classes are still open. We're not going to delete them for you. Like they're going to be in there. At least through July, right? Robin, I'm pretty sure through July at least. So be aware of that. Now, if they're brand new, there's a whole different plan here, right? What if you're getting new kids? You teach 5th grade and the kids come into you want them to practice over the summer. Or you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I have never used Get More Math. This is brand new to me. Well, then you're going to set up your class. You're going to plan and create, right? You're going to make assignments and you're going to keep them real small, less than 4 skills, 3, 2, or 1, right? Pick easy ones with easy input answers like multiple choice, or just put a number in. Try to avoid like really hard graphing problems or like long word problems, because that's going to turn the kids off immediately. You're just trying to keep their skills fresh. Same thing, decide on goals, incentives, and motivations. Then what you'll do is assign that assignment, push the class into mixed review, and turn off that assignment. Why? Because we want them in mixed review where they're going to have skips, and then turn off those penalties too, right? And then the same thing happens. Watch as they're making progress, assign another assignment, little bit of skills, turn it off, push them into mixed review, so that they're constantly working in mixed review on everything you're giving them, setting up those office hours and forms of communication if you can. So it's kind of the same, but for this class, because it's new, you have to make assignments and then push them out gradually. I know what we feel like is we want to build everything and push it all out at once, but that's just going to be overwhelming to your kids. So little by little, watching how they're doing. Couple incentives and motivations, just some thoughts out there. I've heard this from some other teachers, is you could either base it on points. You could say, if you get this many points every week or every month or through the summer. One teacher does these 5-star generals, which I think is super cool. Like you get so many, by the time you hit a star, you get a point, or by the time you hit a gold star, you get 2 points. And I'm going to keep track of how many stars you have. And then, I went around to local businesses and asked them if they would give me like just a $5 gift card to like Dairy Queen or Sheetz. And they were like, sure. And I gave them out as prizes. How about a meet and treat for ice cream? Maybe you have a local place through the summer. You can say, hey, you've been working hard all week. Meet me Friday and I'm going to buy you some ice cream. That could be fun. Do some leaderboards or brackets. I've had some schools, when the kids came back to school in the fall, they got the approval on an off day to do an activity or a movie day with those kids because of what they did over the summer. And that really is get your administrators in on that, because then that'll really like spark interest in not just your kids, but other teachers and other kids. And obviously we used to do tickets for prizes. I love this one. Where is that? Tickets for prizes. Oh, I missed it. Didn't it come up there?
Oh, it came.
If they're meeting the goal, put their name on a ticket, stick it in a jar, put their name on a ticket, stick it in the jar, pick one out for a prize as well. So anything you can come up with, and please share with us. We love to share ideas that teachers have on how to motivate the kids, especially over the summer. I mean, it's really, really difficult. We actually had a place here that gave away a pool pass for the next summer. I was like, oh my God, that's such a great, businesses are willing to help, I feel, because it's just been such a trying year for education. So whatever you can do, I'm sure your kids will appreciate it. We appreciate it. So that's a good thing. One thing I do want to make sure I tell you guys before we wrap it up here is Robin and I work all summer long. We left that teaching job just to be with you guys all summer. So be aware that we're here anytime you have a question. That little support chat, our online resources on our website, our video library on our website, they're all there available to you at any point in time, or just reach out to us. We're going to be here working all summer, making some really great changes for the fall. Hopefully as it gets closer and closer and closer, we'll have some more exciting news to tell you guys about what's coming. And again, here's our email, my email, and the support email. If you need anything at all, feel free to reach out.